All right, so class 2. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Tonight's class, we are going to be looking at key points. Well, the key points of the class, should I say, understanding energy and vibration, layers of spirit, and intention setting, rituals and prepping, releasing fears, and discernment. Now, of course, our quote of the day is, we live in a free will universe, and no matter how much you are loved, in fact, because you are so loved and respected, no being will intervene for you without your permission, okay? A lot of Fairchild, Kanyean Oracle. And it's really true that even though we have our guides and our angels and our ancestors, we really have to start to ask, hey, I'm giving you this, permission to help me, to fight, to block, to whatever it is that we're asking for. We really have to give them that permission to step in and intervene because we have free will. So it's really our choice. I don't know if I didn't get any homework back, so don't know if any of the homework was done, but just want to know if you tried anything, if you listened to the meditations, if you did any sitting with your higher self, what came out of it. Would love to hear that.
I did actually, after our meeting on Monday, I went in and did the meditations that you sent me, as well as the one that I posted in the group today about the prayer for self-love. And I have found that I'm getting into it a little bit more than I was before. Like, I'm actually going in, I'm having peace, calm mind, I'm coming out feeling great from it. And I couldn't get that before.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, did you try any just sitting without the meditation, just kind of sitting with self? Did you try any of that?
Yes. I actually did it this morning when I got the girls off to school. I just sat here, like I cut off all the lights, cut the TV off, just like focus, and I'm just sat, like, while I'm just sitting with myself, giving myself positive affirmations, telling myself I love me, this is what I want, like saying I take back my power that I've let other people take away from me, kind of things. Right. So I've been doing that a little bit more.
All right, awesome. Now, have you connected to your higher self yet? Do you feel like you're connected to higher self yet?
I think I still need some work. I do. Like, I feel better in my practices and how I'm doing it, but I feel like I haven't gotten there yet.
Right. It's funny how we always are talking to our higher self. We just don't really realize it at the time. So you're going to start to distinguish what is the higher self and from you. Sometimes the higher self can be a little harsher, honest, but it's always in a loving way. It's not the harshness like the shadow side that does the harshness. It's a harshness, but it's loving. So just keep at it. You'll keep, and then you'll become that, higher self is here, and you'll feel it. All right, so let's do some grounding. All right, so if you're sitting up, of course, just go ahead and sit up and make sure that back is erect and you're sitting up nice and tall, and just relax your shoulders and make sure your feet are planted on the ground. So of course, I want you to start with your breathing, and I want you to breathe in through your nose down to your chest. We're going to hold for a couple of minutes, well, not minutes, seconds, and then we're going to release through the mouth. Okay, so breathe in. And so each time that you're breathing in through your nose, you're breathing in that beautiful positive energy, and you are breathing out all of those worries and the struggle and the stress and the traffic and the bills. Breathe in. And release. Now, as you're hearing me talking, I want you to continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. But I want us to go to a beautiful waterfall. However you picture this waterfall, just stand before that waterfall. Huge, lots of green trees around it, or maybe it's cement, maybe it's a figure. However, you're seeing this beautiful, beautiful waterfall in front of you. And I want you to focus on the magical water pouring out of this waterfall. Beautiful, magical water coming straight from Mother Gaia herself. And I want you to go ahead and put your hand in that water. And just allow your hand to flow freely through the water, allowing Mother Gaia to connect through energy, through releasing, through her power, and through her love. Remembering that we are always connected to her and that we are her children on earth. And I want you to stand, arms out, and just look up into the beautiful sky. And now allow that sun energy to just beam down on you, warming each and every cell of your body, just flowing through you, purifying, stripping away all of that gunk and darkness and traumas and pains and stress. Just allow that beautiful sun energy to just vibrate and bring in that vitality and that power and that strength, warming us, supporting us as we stand in our feet planted on the ground. We are secure, we are safe, we are protected with Mother Gaia and the sun energy on us. And we're standing in that power. Feel it. What does it feel like? What does it smell like around you? What do you hear? Be in the present moment, connected. Now, once you've allowed the sun energy to scan through your whole body, every cell, regenerating each and every part of you, I want you to once again look at the waterfall. And we're just going to say thank you to Mother Gaia, as she is always within us, always around us. Each and every day we see her. We're going to say thank you to the sun, that beautiful warm energy, and that we are in full gratitude for the air that we're breathing in. And then once you're ready, you can open up your eyes. All right. Now, how did that one feel from the last one?
I don't know about y'all, but that made me really emotional.
Really?
Yeah.
Which part? Because you know, there's those words that kind of trigger and hit us.
So when I started to feel that emotion, it was when you had said, so first of all, when I envisioned the waterfall, I was like like I instantly seen like a whole, like I was in a rainforest. And it was in like a sacred area. And when I seen this waterfall and the water coming down, when you said the word magical, the water started like glowing, like it was magic water or something. And then when you told me to stick my hand in the water, it was like the water, I couldn't feel the water at first. It was like my hand, like the water moved away from my hand, like it didn't want to touch me. And so I was like, well, maybe it's something like within me that I need to like accept. So I started like thinking of certain things that I needed to accept for myself. Um, and it was forgiveness. And once I realized who I needed to forgive, I put my hand back in the water and I started to feel the water. And that's when I started to get that emotional, like wanting to cry. Like I was crying within the meditation, but my physical being wasn't crying, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes just different things hit different ways, right? And
Yeah.
that's awesome that you were able to kind of work through it though, even though you're in
Yeah.
the process, you're working through it. So that's beautiful. Oh, all right. So we're going to get into energy because energy is everything when it comes to mediumship and spiritual development. Understanding it, getting used to it, and feeling it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about synergistic energy exchange, okay, and this concept. So the basic part about this is just like you see the picture on the screen. When you think of us, we're our balls of energy, okay? Whenever we come into contact with another, doesn't matter if it's human or spirit or angel, the energetic, our energetic kind of balls come into contact. We intertwine, okay? That is the energy exchange. That is when someone is in your energy. So when it comes to mediumship, especially, whenever we're calling in a past loved one, we are then exchanging energy and we are very meshed together. This is why in mediumship, you feel the person's ailments or you feel what they went through. You possibly can taste certain things that happen or smell certain things because now you're intertwined in their energy, the remnants of their life, right? And so that's kind of how it works. So anything that comes into that contact, even when you're virtually talking to someone, because energy is beyond physical matter, right? So anytime you're even talking to someone, you're on the phone with someone, you have now connected through your energy spaces. Because again, energy, there is no time and space with energy. It is just the connection of two forms, basically. So if you thought of the synergy between like an artist and a record company, when an artist has this beautiful music and the record company comes together and boom, right? So you just remember that every part of you, of what you do, is this energetic field, just you, and everyone is coming into that field, whether you want them to or not. Think of like being in the grocery store and you're, walking past someone where you're not necessarily inviting them in, but you're still around them. You're still there. They're still there. You guys are going to intertwine. This is where we're going to talk about more about the cleansing and taking care of ourselves, because even whether or not you are inviting someone into your energy, no matter how protected you are, you're going to still mesh with others' energy because that is how life is and that's how it works. Okay, so we are balls of energy. We vibrate. Our vibration goes beyond our physical body. So when we think of our body, a lot of times we're just thinking in the sense of the physical, but the energy expands out. Now they say it expands about 6 feet out. I don't know the specifics on that, but I do know that it expands a couple layers outside of the body. So just remember that as you're walking, get a little bit more conscious on it, where you're like, okay, not saying you got to run from people, not saying you want to run from someone, but just start being mindful of everyone who's coming into that kind of like 6 feet radius of your energy. So remember, your physical body, right, is the container. Your mind is a receiver of energy. So this is why our mind is so powerful. This is why our mind gets affected so much. The brain is the receiver of everything coming in. Everything coming in is kind of hitting all those nerves. So when we're looking at our body, do remember your body is just another physical tool. It's a spiritual tool, it's a physical tool, but it also connects to everything else. So body, yes, it's a shell, it's here, it's doing its thing. And then we have our energetic field, and that's where we're really doing the connecting. That's where we're really doing the pulling in the energy and the information from somebody else's energetic field. And it's pretty awesome how we do it. So we are transferring and we are interlacing. So just remember that. That's one of the biggest things to remember about our energy, is that we are constantly transferring and interlacing with other people all day long. Now, when you are an empath, when you are gifted in any way where you're subject to soaking in that, this is where you have to get a better, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but getting better at your protection, your clearing, your grounding, and your cleansing, because you will constantly just think about it all day long, not even with strangers, with your children, with your spouses. You are transferring and interlacing energy all day long. So it does take a toll on you if you do not pay attention and if you do not cleanse and clear and return to sender this energy. Now, nature is one of the most profound ways to just connect to that natural energy source, which is always positive. Mother Gaia is never going to give you negative energy when you're going out there. So getting out there to just be in the, whether it's a lake, whether it's a park, whether it's a pond, wherever, beach. For me, it's the ocean. When I go to the ocean, it's just, there's just something about going to the ocean that connects with me on a whole nother level. Some people prefer the lake. Some people prefer, you know, other places. Where find your place and connect to that energy source. That is probably one of the best places to not only clear, but to connect and ground to Mother Gaia, okay? Whenever you are out in the earth, that's earthing with Mother Gaia. Connecting with animals is another source of connecting, because animals carry energy. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to go out and find some crazy ass animals to hurt us. But if you just like find play petting zoo, I'm not saying go to the zoo, but somewhere where you can pet or play or connect, because animals have this crazy sense of not only nature, but it is this other energetic force from Mother Gaia to connect in with, okay? Connecting with water is huge, not only just for the energetic properties. Water is a conductor. Water is this cleanser. Water is powerful, okay? So get out there and start really hitting and getting into nature some way, somehow. That way, not only are you feeling more energetic and more that vitality boost, but you're also doing the connection and cleansing and clearing in nature, because we all can sit inside and we all can meditate, but there's nothing like when you're going out to nature. Now, when we want to go into expanding our consciousness, and what that means is just moving outside of the 3D reality. The 3D reality is I'm a human, I go to work, I come home, I feed my kids, I have my husband or spouse, and that's just my life, and you know, that's it. And maybe there's a hell, maybe there's a heaven, and that's kind of that. When you start to expand your consciousness, you're thinking outside of this plane. You understand that there's different dimensions. It's a belief system now. It turns into a belief system now. The fabric of the universe is extensive and beyond our comprehension. For us, any of us, to feel like we know all is just, it's not real. We don't have all the keys. We'll never have all the keys. I feel like, yeah, when you get to Ascended Master, you have the keys, but not as a human. So when we're looking at this, if we're expanding that and we're understanding that not only can we tap into these other dimensions and other parts of the universe, why would we not be able to tap into past loved ones' energy, which they are still an energy. Spirit is energy. It's just the way people say it, the terms of what we say, right? Your vibration reflects from the universe. This is why they talk about law of attraction, or they talk about your vibration calls in what's in your heart space. It does, it reflects. So the universe is always going to reflect that back to you. Whatever you are, whatever you have, that is going to come back to you in that energy. However you put it out, it comes back, and that's just the way it works. Remember your intentions, and we will talk about intentions all through this class, because you have to make sure your intentions are pure and from the heart. Mix that with your vibration energy, right? That means that you stay in a place of abundance, because the universe is going to match that. When we say your intentions and going back to your whys, understanding why you do things, why you're doing it, why you want to, and making sure that it's not just to benefit you, it's to benefit others as well, then you stay with that heart-filled intention and not going to a selfish, any type of needs like that. So setting your intention, staying in that integrity with the universe, and understanding that there's so much more and being open to it, that allows you to connect with spirit, connect with angels, connect with your spirit guides, because you're outside of this 3D reality and you understand that there's so much more. You're just allowing it to unfold in front of you. Everyone's meditation is not going to be the same. Like my meditations are not going to be how Jesse's meditations are. They're not. All of us have our unique and special like bond with the universe. And when we start to allow ourselves to see it, then we not only create, but then we experience the beauty in front of us. And we're not saying, oh, my path has to be just like this other person's path. You just allow yourself to experience yours and be in the beauty of it. So expanding your consciousness is just really opening up to that magic of the universe and understanding that your experience is yours alone, and to hold on to that. Okay. All right, so we're going to look at some layers of the body, okay? Like I said before, our body, physical body, right? And then we have these levels. And there's a couple more, but I'm going to stick to just these right here to just kind of talk about. So, the body's our physical shell that has our organs, our systems, nervous system and such. Health, the senses are all in there. And then when we're looking at the soul, that's where we go to what is really holding the emotion. That is the fruit of the spirit, the will, our reason, our thought, our mind, desire, personality. Now, perception, memory, all of that. Some people, that's where you get the ego, okay? Because the ego is attached to the body. The ego is the personality here, so is the soul. The soul and the ego are what's here. Your spirit is what's attached to the universe. Your spirit, which we would refer to as higher self, okay? That is what is attached to all of the universe and has all the answers that you want to know. The soul is limited on what it has because it's attached to this life and this personality. Okay, some people just believe in the soul. They think it stops there, but actually you have the spirit. You have the spirit that goes on. That's a supernatural part of you that goes beyond, okay? That's where you get all the clairs. That's where you get the information of knowing. That's where you tap into past loved ones, angels, etc. Okay. So when you're connecting through the levels, it's you just getting comfortable of yourself. You're tapping into the levels of yourself. And the deeper that you allow yourself to go, of course, then you can get into those layers. Some people actually see it in, like, even when you're asking someone who could see auras and they see the outline or they can see the energy around you. Now, I don't see that. I wish I could. It seems pretty cool, but you do have it, like that energy field around you. So some people see that, just like some people see silhouettes of spirits. Some people actually see like the white, right? And some people see black, like me. Unfortunately, I saw the black shadows of people's spirits. I didn't get to see the nice, bubbly white shadows of people. So sometimes it could be a little traumatizing to children or people in general, because you're not sure, what the hell am I seeing? Am I crazy? Especially if you were younger, like I was, where I was told, like, no, you're not seeing anything. That's just a bad dream. So you can see sometimes that visual of the spirit, okay, especially if we're referring to past loved ones and we're going beyond, a living person. So it's more than just opening up your third eye. It's allowing yourself to connect on a vibrational level, to not only see, but feel the person, feel the energy. And this technique is great with people also, because when you can feel their energy, you actually can go beyond the mask of a person. That's less people treating you like shit. That's less people, fucking you over in the end, because you're allowing yourself to get past the mask. So just think of it, this is something you can use no matter what you do on all levels, that you can get past the mask and feel that vibration and intention from someone, okay? Don't downplay what you see either. That stuff in the corner of your eye is there, okay? You're not imagining it. It is there. You just have to see if it's going to come up again, or is it something that's just kind of lingering around. Most people get very scared with the shadow outline of spirits because they automatically think it's dark or that it's evil, and it's not. Not everything that is black is evil. Blackness just is the different types of ways of seeing. From in my experience, what I've come to realize is that there are some people that see more of the damaged souls in that way, where they're stuck. They're stuck in this very dark place. And that's what we came to do. We actually came to help them get into these lighter, find the light, should we say. And a lot of people aren't taught properly, so they're not sure, they don't know that's what it is. So if you find yourself seeing darker spirits, it's not because they're bad. And even sometimes the energy will feel bad. It's like, oh my God, this shit is scary as hell. Well, it's not really that. It's just them lost, or it could be very traumatic. Someone could have, committed suicide. They could have got murdered. They could be angry. There's a lot of things. Until you tap into the energy, you won't really know what's going on. And if you sit in fear, that just makes it worse. So remember, whatever you're seeing, just take a moment, breathe, allow yourself to process, and then see where you can go with it. A lot of times when spirits are here, it's kind of hard to help them if you don't have a client in front of you, because you're just like, well, shit, how can I help you? But if someone's coming to you, they're coming to you for a reason, okay? All right.
I'm over here talking and my mic is muted. Okay, so what is raising your vibration? How do you raise your vibration? So I feel like what a vibration is a state of being in the atmosphere or an energetic quality of a person, place, thought, or thing. Now, vibes are very intuitive. Okay, you can tell a person's energy by walking into the room or into that grocery store, like AG was saying, because we're all intertwining and everybody's energy all in the same place. So you're going to be feeling their feelings. Okay, some people want you to draw. Some people want they want them to draw you closer, and vice versa, or others might make you want to keep your distance. Like, I don't know what she got going on over there, but let's just keep it that way, and I'm gonna go this way. Also, you can see a depressing story and you will feel that state of emotion and that heaviness. So you watch the news, or you realize, you've seen a story, something happening on Facebook, and you instantly start to feel that heaviness. That's that intuitive part of you, of your being, feeling that vibration of that person or whatever it may be. When you are vibrating at a higher level, you're going to feel lighter because you ain't got no worries. You light as a feather. You're at ease. Nothing is really bothering you. Nothing is in your way. You're not caring about what other people think about you. You're just going to be on your own path, and you're going to be focused on what it is that you got going on and not everybody else. Your emotions are controllable. There's nothing that really bothers you, like I said. And when you're at a lower vibrational, it's the complete opposite. You feel that heaviness. You're always in a dark place. You're maybe even confused, not motivated, or you just feel that like blah feeling. Like you just, I feel like you'd probably be kind of stuck. Like you don't know where to go. You don't know like how to maneuver things. You're kind of lost in the sauce, basically, is the complete opposite of that higher vibration.
I just want to add on that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, like, that's one of the common questions I get is, how can I raise my vibration? And just choose to fucking be happy. Like, that's one of the biggest things, is that choice. When you wake up, it is, despite what happens today, and choosing to stay in that joy and that happiness. And you'll start to see, if you don't already do it, you'll start to see how profound that is and how changing it is just to change from, instead of me letting
your whole mindset,
I'm going to stay in this happiness and this joy and just fucking smile all day long.
And not only that, you'll start to see those people like, what the hell? Why is she so happy? What's she got going on over there? Like that's irritated. Yeah, let's keep going. Let me stay in this lane because you affected others. And that's where you start to kill those people with kindness. Like, oh, okay, you're gonna make them feel bad because you canceling out their negativity. Like, you can't, now they're gonna feel like shit going home, like, damn, like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why did I act like that? And so on and so forth. Meanwhile, you over here happy as a fiddle. Like,
Right.
and you're only going up, you're only raising it more. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Staying happy. So, along those lines with these tips, not just being happy, is being grateful for everything that you have, the little things. Um, that you have a roof over your head, you have your phone bill paid, you have, just these little things, even though we do have other things that we stress on or other things that, whatever, that'll make a way, you know what I mean? It'll pass, but you need to be grateful and then now, and you need to be grateful with what you have, in the moment. And then also being conscious of everything, of what's around you, the thoughts that go on in your head, what you're putting into your body, the way that, like I said, the way that you're thinking and the people around you, and then also drinking plenty of water, drinking a lot of water. I've recently, really since our that diet that we epically failed, I started continue to drinking a lot more water. I was like, if I'm going to take anything from this hard diet, I'm going to consistently drink water. You know what I mean? Like, I did have some days where I only drank like two water bottles, but I drank them. You know what I mean? I'm starting to see a difference within how I'm thinking and how I'm moving about certain things, not everything. But I'm seeing that development, and it actually is, I feel more clear, if that makes sense. And then you are what you attract. So what you put out into the world, what the things that you say, the people, the things that you want, that's what you're going to get back. You're going to attract that. So attract, like, be positive, be mindful, be anything that is of your highest good, because it's going to come back to you, because that's going to attract you. Now, if you do the opposite of the negativity, oh, I'm always this and it's always that, it's going to stay like that. You're not really going to go anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're just going to stay at this lower vibration level, and it's not going to get you nowhere. Okay. Self-love, love yourself, love people, like your family, show the love, give, and without having the thought of getting anything back. Because I realize a lot of people, not saying, us in general, but just people, they just give because, oh, it's going to come back to me. We have to get out of that mindset just to give just because you want to. Yes, it may come back. Yes, you may get your blessings, but that's not why we're doing this. It's giving yourself that self-love because you deserve it, giving out because you want to give. Stay in that kind of a mindset. Also, meditation is also a thing that for me was my number one thing. Just being in my path has helped me beyond calming my mind, making me more patient, and even just that, that's helping me one day, one level, whatever you want to say it, at a time, with raising my vibration. And it's helped me. I feel like that right there, with that self-love and being grateful and happy, is like key for me into how I just, try to stay on a higher level and not go any further down than what we made. Because we're not perfect. We all have those days, but trying your best to stay up there. And then I also have working out, getting your blood going. And then that forgiveness, forgiving not just yourself, but others for yourself. That also, because to forgive, that saying, like, forgive and then forget. You don't need to forget. You can remember, so you don't have to go through that pain again. So you don't have to, relive it or whatever, you can remember, but you need to start that forgiveness path, that healing path that also helps raise your vibration. Because if you don't, and you're like, I'm doing this, I'm grateful, I'm happy, I'm this, that, and the third, I'm working out, I'm drinking my water, but I still feel stuck, I still feel like I'm not moving up, probably because you need to heal, you need to forgive, you need to go, with your inner child, or whatever it may be. Also as well, thinking positive, that also go along the lives of, on the lines of being happy. Always thinking positive, do positive affirmations each morning that you wake up. That helps me get out of my negative Nancy mode in the morning, because I hate how my eyes always wake up at 7 o'clock. I like to stay asleep until 10 o'clock. I like to go back to sleep after picking my kids up from work. Taking my kids to school, but I can't. So with those positive affirmations, I literally just bought my sticky notes today, AG, and they're going on my mirror. I don't care what my husband thinks, but they're going up first thing in the morning. And all he's going to do is just read them, because, it's that reminder that we all need sometimes. Music, dancing, and singing also helps raise your vibration. Even if you feel like you're looking funny, goofy, whatever. I don't know if you guys seen Grey's Anatomy, where they literally, her and her friend, they have like, when she's sad or someone's sad or mad, they literally stop everything that they're doing and they have like a dance session. They dance it out. They literally just dance it out, no matter whatever, however, crying, someone just died, whatever, they dance it out. And that helps them get out of that yucky feeling, and then also surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, people who are on the same level as you. What we look like being around people that are under us, like that's only going to get us in their vibrational level. Like it's going to bring you down. You're going to realize that, like, no, I'm going on your level. Like, let me not. So definitely prioritize the people that you're around, that you're bringing your energy in. Carry some crystals so they can like suck out that energy, like do whatever it is that you have to do, but definitely pay attention to who you surround yourself with, because that energy is very, I don't know what the word that I'm trying to look for, but it's strong. It's, I can't figure out the word, but yes, definitely be careful and be aware of that. I don't know if you want to touch bases on any of that.
The thing I wanted to say was on the love part, because one of the things with love, it's even those things when you're just sitting to be grateful or you're in gratitude. And one of the things that I had a hard time was I would get these messages from spirit, like I need to be in that moment. And I'm like, man, I give a lot. Like, what are you talking about? But one of the things is I was in one of Nicole's classes and she was talking about food, like when we eat. And one of the things about me is I'm a scarfer. I tend to just scarf my food down and not give two shits. Like I'm not brain and I'm just like, I'm eating. So one of the things that I realized was, she had mentioned just that appreciating your food, like just to sit and appreciate the meal and take that moment. And I'm like, damn, when is the last time I really sat and just said, thank you for this food real quick, or, just bless this food, or just like scarfing this shit down. And I'm done. So even those things of just sitting in that loving and appreciative, or that part of just, okay, let me just take a second and really give this thanks or gratitude or love to something. And sometimes we don't even think about it. We're just in the mood. We're just going, The only thing I do that to is my damn caramel macchiato.
Girl, you better give thanks, because look,
this caramel macchiato is the best. So it's just kind of taking those moments to sit there and appreciate the littlest things that we have, because we take so much for granted. And that just those little steps will raise your vibration, and get to this better state of just, oh, okay, I see what you mean. I'm just in the moment of love and loving everything and loving every moment, instead of letting life kind of kick us in the ass, right?
Yeah. Most definitely. Okay, so how do you know you're transcending to a higher level? Because it's like we always talk about we always talk about this, but it's like, okay, well, what's the real like meaning behind it? Like, how do you know? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. How do you know? So what I've figured out for this is understanding the world and the universe. So the perception of existence, whether or not you believe your understanding of the workings of the world and the facts that you have ascended to a higher level and that you have awakened and noticed certain things others might not. Okay. Because when we open up our third eye, when we are on our spiritual path, we start to realize certain things that we didn't before, right? So that's where that, that understanding comes in. It's like, okay, you're starting to realize certain things. So that's also how you know you're transcending to a higher level. The perception of yourself, it's kind of like the only thing you see in life is like sticks and stones, right? Like seeing in black and white. Chances are you haven't really got to that transcending level just yet. You haven't really awoken to the point to where your eyes are open to reality yet. Like you're not really, you're still seeing in black and white, you're still like believing, or in the matrix, you're not really transcending yet. So when you start to see outside of you start to see the colors and the rainbows, then you'll know that you're going to that higher level. And then also self-love, when you're looking at the world different, when you're seeing the beauty and the imperfections of the world and of yourself, practicing forgiveness, caring for oneself, improving oneself, basically just doing things better for yourself, for your highest good, things show signs that ascension and transcending to a higher vibrational frequency. So just doing all that within yourself is how you know you're going to that level as well. Showing that self-love, realizing and recognizing all the things that you're doing. And it's like, well, dang, 2 years ago, do you think that you would be noticing and where you're at today then? There's no way, because then I was not giving myself self-love. I was too busy focused on everybody else and not one bit on me. Like, yeah, I know I was selfish, but it was for the wrong reasons. It wasn't because I deserved it or because I felt like I deserved it or whatever. So yeah, that's how I feel, when you're transcending to a higher level is recognizing those things. And then we can go ahead and move. Okay, so can you touch bases on this, and then I'll you're on mute. I read the oh shit in your words.
Always friend on me.
Right, I hate that.
All right, so we're going to get into intention setting. And so one of the things with intention setting is you are setting the energy. Remember, we're talking about energy. So energy is everything that we do, our mood, our vibe, what we're feeling, our emotions. Setting the intention is how we want to come into a session. Whether you're going to do this for professional or you're just doing it for yourself, setting your intention is everything. How do you want to be in this particular space and time? And how your energy wants to flow. That's what setting intention is. You're putting this, let's say words, okay? So let's say my intention right now is I want to set my intention just to call in my angels at this time. That's the intention I'm setting. That's the tone of what I'm doing in this moment. That is the power of your intention. So every time you're going into one of these sessions or circles or whatever you're doing, make sure you're setting the intention of how you want it to go, who you want there, and how do you see it, Why is setting the intention important? Well, you want to set it up exactly how I said in the beginning, where you have these beautiful high-powered beings around you, but they will not and cannot, even though they do sometimes, jump in the same place, okay? You have to set the intention that you want them there, you want them present, and you want them to assist. That's the importance of it. You want to set the intention to, you only want to speak to higher level beings. You want to speak to spirits that are good. You don't want to speak to anyone who's damaging or is going to latch on to you. So you want to make sure that you're clear on what it is that you're doing. In this moment, am I speaking to angels? Am I speaking to guides? Am I speaking to ancestors? Because when you're not clear, anybody can come in. If I'm just going to sit here and meditate and say, anybody come talk to me, anybody can come and talk to you. Okay. So you want to make sure that you say an intention on who you want to come. Okay. When we talk about rituals, and I talk about this to a lot of clients, and a lot of them ask me, what does that mean? And so ritual just means something that you do every time you're going to go into a session or go into a circle or go into, however you practice. And a ritual can be, it doesn't need to be candle work and chanting and jumping off at the full moon. It can just be as simple as an incense. It could be as simple as pulling a crystal out. It could be simple as dimming the lights. It could be as simple as turning on music. Your ritual is anything that you make it. So what are you called to do? People set up crystals. I already have my desk set up a certain way, so I don't need to move around with it. But if you did have to set it up and then take it down, you set it up however you feel. And if you decide to have a set ritual, that's fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. Follow your intuition on everything that you do. Your guides, your ancestors will always send you like these little, what I call breadcrumbs, okay? Follow them. Whether it's to have the pyramid next to you, whether it's to have a clear quartz next to you, whether it's to have a glass of water next to you, follow your intuition. For me, I do have a glass of water on my desk, and that is, it's a conductor, and it does clear the energy. And I actually have to clear these glasses out a few times a week because they get so embedded with gunk and the nasty energy that they clear out, okay? Make sure that you're specific on what you're doing, regardless to who you're trying to tap into, whether it's someone's mom, whether it's someone's grandmother, whether it's your grandmother. Be specific on who you want to talk to, because we do have some shitty ancestors, okay? But we need to make sure that we're calling in the good ones. Now, let me tell you, the bad ones are there should you need them, but you don't want to be calling to them for letting everything go. Anything that you thought you knew when you're doing this, you got to let it go. You got to kind of step out of that and just kind of let things go. Focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. If you focus on the fears, if you focus on what you don't want or who you don't want to come in, that's who will be there, okay? Because remember, spirit is as fast as our thought, and our thought is what generates what we're doing. So if your thoughts are in the, oh my God, demons are coming, guess what? They will, okay? They will. But that's because you're calling them in. So make sure you're focusing on who and what you want to come in, not what you don't want to come in. And that's the basis of setting your intentions. I know for me, when I'm going into a session, when it's past level one, I do meditate. And I do have to remind the client that I need them to calm the fuck down, because a lot of times their energy is like all over here because they want this message. And then they start rambling on, and it's like, shh, just chill out. Okay, I need you to calm down. So you have to set the intention in the room. Remember, whoever's on the other side is going to be antsy. They're going to be anxious. They could be emotional. And so you have to remember that their energy is now intertwining with everything else. So that's something you got to be aware of also, of setting the intention to clear that energy and calm the space down. I went too fast. I don't know if you wanted to add. If you're talking, you're on mute.
Of course I am. Of course I am. The only thing that I wanted to touch bases on is basically on the ritual part. I have this prayer that I say. I don't know if you guys want to try it out for yourself or whatever, what have you. The things that I've come to realize that helped me, I did it recently. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3. I don't know. It's very recent, and it was very powerful for me. So I say, We step forward to connect with spirit in truth and love and welcome those who wish to do the same for the highest and most positive outcome of all involved. And when I say that, yeah, I light my candle, and things start coming to me a lot more clearly. So that was really the only thing that I wanted to say on this part, because you basically touched bases on everything perfectly. So make sure you guys are definitely very, very specific on who you're calling on to. Sometimes I say my why I'm calling on them. So if I want to receive the messages from my ancestors, from their ancestors, or whoever the person that I'm reading, I state, how do you say it? Specific thing. So for if I call on God, I ask for him to guide me, and Mother Earth to ground me, and you know what I mean? Things like that. I get that specific into it as well. So and then trying to, let go and like trust your spirit team, that they have your back, that you're in control, but they're there to help assist you in what you have, going on. Always have that line of communication. And if you're confused, they'll work with you and try to speak your language so you have that understanding.
Now, when it
And
comes, oh, you got something? Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
On the rituals and prepping. So again, in the beginning, it's a good idea to definitely clear your space. And it's one thing when you have like a sacred space and not many people are coming in it, or no one's coming in it. And it's kind of different. You don't really have to cleanse it all the time. But if you work or you're doing anything in a space that multiple people are in and out, then cleansing the room is going to be a necessity in the beginning. Okay, especially if you don't have that particular space to do it. Just remember that, because if there's too many energies, remember, we just talked about how energy intertwines and interlocks. You want to make sure that you're cleaning and cleansing the room. Now, a lot of people ask, well, how do you do that? Well, there's sage, of course, incense, crystals. If you can't do the sage, there's clearing sprays, and we're going to talk about clearing sprays when we're talking about the protection. But there are other ways. If you don't have sage, there's other ways to clear a room, like the glass of water is a perfect one. Crystals are another one, selenite, and we will talk about some of the protection and clearing crystals also later. So you might even want to get into, some people have particular clothes, scarves, hats, pendants, ring. One of the things, and I'll just, I know you guys kind of see me live, you'll kind of see me with this one on, or I'll have like a couple other ones that I do wear it. And I remember one time being on a live and I didn't have it on. And I remember I just had my eyes closed and I was meditating, and it was like Isis came in, like, go get your necklace. And I'm like, oh, okay, we need it tonight, just one of those things. I used to have a ring that had black tourmaline in it, but it broke. And the black tourmaline came out. So I ended up having to get a different ring. Although I don't wear the ring for those purposes, I went ahead and changed and got the necklace. Playing music is another one. If you want to play meditation music, you can play any kind of music that just gets you in the mood. One of the biggest things about it is to be in the most happiest state that you can, especially with mediumship. The higher your vibration that you're happy, the clearer and the more you can connect with spirit, because they're in a higher vibration. So remember, you don't want to be in a low, sad vibration. You want to be in a high. So any music that gets you pumped and excited, that's what you want to put on. If you have something to chant, like how Jessie had the saying that she says, I used to have one like that I say, but I don't say it anymore. I've kind of switched up my rituals. I kind of just set the tone for who I want around in protection, and then start calling in the person that I want to work with, that I'm trying to connect with, and just sit as I'm trying to feel whatever they're having me feel. But if you have something that you create and chant, because sometimes the vibration just moves and changes. And so this is what we mean about rituals and prepping. It's not like there's not 10 steps of what you need and what you don't need, because a lot of people get caught on the specifics of what it is. And I will always tell you, go back to your intuition. What does your intuition tell you? What do you feel like you need? Because you don't need anything. You can do it without anything. But if you feel that you need stuff, just kind of go to the flow of what your body and what you're sensing. If you're talking, you're on mute.
Oh my God. How did you know? Like you feeling me? So yes, I was talking and I was saying you don't always need that list. I see like, those scammers out there that they're like, oh, you've been this, you need a crystal, you need this black sheet of paper, you need this, and this, and this, and this. And it's like, no, you don't need none of that. So really just dismiss all of that and literally go with your intuition, go with the things that you feel you're called to use. If it's having a crystal in your hand that whole session, cool, have that. I've come to realize, I don't, in that if you have a sacred place, like my room, I don't really read in my room, and when I do, I make sure I cleanse, I make sure I do a whole bunch of stuff, because that's where I sleep. Like, I don't need no spirits bothering me when I'm asleep and I don't get no sleep, because then I'm gonna get very, 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 very irritated and grumpy, because don't mess with me when I'm asleep. Nobody wakes me up, because I'm already up before my kids sometimes, like, so when I'm in my room, it's very rare. The one thing that I would suggest not for you guys to do is have your like your table of like, what is it? Your altar in your room. And that is like one of the things that, completely off topic, but make sure you guys, stay with that cleansing. And sooner or later, you won't really have to really cleanse like that, because I don't really cleanse like that anymore. It's more about that intent behind it and leaving it where it's at.
When I first started, I was in my room. I was in my bedroom because that's like the only space that I kind of had at the time. And it seemed like a good idea until I did, I was attacked in my room. And then after that, it was just I kind of opened up a portal in my mirror also. And so, you just kind of learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to scare anyone, like, oh my God, you're going to be attacked, but you can. You got to remember, if you're a light worker, especially going into the path of a profession, darkness has their job to do too, to get us to be fearful and run. But you got to remember that you're always in power, and they really can't fuck with you like that, but you have to stand in that power. And so it made me realize that I had to have a space. And so then I ended up moving out to my dining room, and my dining room transformed into my workspace, because I just was like, no, I need a place where I can truly be comfortable and not have spirits waking me up or, watching me,
Right.
or fucking coming to hassle me. I needed to be able to set those boundaries. And so we will talk more about that on the protection part, but you do have to set those boundaries to say, this is my space. And when I get out of here, leave me alone. Like, this other space is off limits. So you do have to start to get that. But in the beginning, most of us are working out of a small space, a small corner, we're somewhere where we don't even know where we're going with this. And so just be mindful about that, because again, think about the energy that's intertwining. You're a lot, there's so many different energies in that space wherever you're at. All right. So there's all kind of ways of setting up, okay, prepared to sit, right? Like I said, you got the glass of water, you got Florida water, you got a tea light. That's what we said, have a tea light tonight. Make sure your house is as quiet as it can be. Of course, the more noise, the more distracted you get when you're trying to tap in. The candle, if you are into dimming the lights, is where the focus goes for spirit, okay? That is, remember, because, and we will talk about this, I don't know if Jesse said it yet, or if it's another class, where you are a bright light in the darkness for spirits. So the tea light, the candle, whether tea light or another light, is to distract and have the spirits kind of focus on that, okay? That's why we're always like, light a white candle for past loved ones, so that they can focus on that white light and find it, okay? So whether you have a prayer, now if you are religious, you can do the our Father. Let me say it right, Our Father prayer. It doesn't matter what you are, what you believe in. You know, the rituals are what you're going to make them. And then always communicate to your spirit team, your ancestors, whoever's there, angels, whoever's there for you, communicate to them that, you know, you're wanting to connect with a certain person. That's if you want them to help. Honestly, I don't call them in to go get anybody for me. I actually just connect to creator's energy and allow creator to allow me to speak or connect to whoever. I do call them in for protection though, to protect while I'm busy if I'm not seeing anything and having them kind of watching my back. Now, like I said, some people use the Florida water. I use Florida water to cleanse and clear my space, but that's more of cleansing and clearing versus putting it in an actual sitting, okay? I don't really use incense anymore. I used to. I still have a bunch of them, but you can. There's so many. Sandalwood, patchouli, especially when it comes to like the ancestors. They love that shit. Myrrh is a really good one. So you can cleanse yourself sometimes if you want to cleanse and go take like a spiritual bath before you do it. That's kind of extra. I don't do all that. I'll just be honest, but there are some people who have full rituals and they do like the full 9 yards. It's really up to you how you want to prepare before you go into a session. For me, I just make sure that I am in a very good energy and that I'm not going through anything, because if you're going through anything, that is going to take a toll on you trying to connect. And then you are more open, and we will talk about vulnerability in another class, but you're more open to attacks as well. Bracelets, anything like we talked about, jewelry, anything that makes noise, because I will tell you, and we do talk about protection, but noise, harmful spirits don't really like the clinging and clanging of noise. If you ever noticed and watched Native American or tribes where they have all these kind of like shakers and stuff, and when they do the certain rituals, they're doing it for a reason. So and it's crazy because in this life, I've always had bracelets. Anytime I used to go out and go anywhere, I would always have bracelets on. And I've actually seen 2 of my past lives where I had bracelets on in those past lives as well. So you can get these and you can have them as your charm. There's sometimes where I think people don't really see my wrist on live anymore, but I'll have certain crystal bracelets on at times as well. So just whatever you're called to. If you're called to bracelets, then find the ones that really speak to you and then have those. Sometimes you might wear them all the time. Maybe sometimes you switch it out. It just depends on you. You don't want to get dependent on any of this. One of the biggest things I will tell you is that a lot of people get dependent on their bracelet, their charms, their rocks, their stones. You want to make sure that everything comes from you first, and everything else is just an added benefit to what you're doing. You have to always learn how to stand in your power despite anything, physical items that you have around you, because it doesn't matter how many spiritual tools that you have around you. If you're still afraid and in fear, then that's going to call in some very negative energy for you, and you're going to have a hard time really connecting to spirit. You're going to be connected to some other shit, okay? So make sure you're releasing the fear, really letting go. One of the reasons why I was attacked in my room was because in the beginning, I was so afraid of what was going to come out of the darkness. I was still looking over my shoulder every time I got through with a session, every time I got through with a live. I was running around the house with the fucking sage in every corner, like so fucking terrified. And you really have to let go of any fear that you have. Being scared is normal. One of the biggest things I learned in the beginning is spirits can have bad energy. That doesn't mean they're demonic. One of the first spirits that ever came to me was my dad's energy. And it was so bad. Like, I didn't even want to believe it was my dad. I thought it was a fucking demon. Like, I thought it was a demon in my living room, but it wasn't. It was actually my dad. He was just in a very bad state. He was in a very bad place. This is why a lot of readers and mediums will feel something very bad, and they'll tell it like it's demonic or it's an entity. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes people are just in some very shitty energy. Most mediums that I've come across, believe that everyone goes to heaven, like everyone is in a peaceful place and no one gets stuck and this, that, and the third. But what I've come to realize that that's not the reality. The reality is some people get very stuck. Some people are very caught in some very shitty energy. So not everything is a demon. Not everything is evil. You really have to see. So you have to drop the fear and actually see what it is and then proceed, accordingly. What we see on the movies is just that. Demons are not flickering your fucking lights on and off, okay? Demons are not closing and opening the cabinet doors. Demons are not just walking up and down, creaking the floors to make you scared. Like, they're really not doing that. They have a different type of plan, and the way that they attack you is to keep you in a box of fear. Like, that's them winning. They're not the ones doing the rest of the shit. So just remember that, where your past loved ones are the ones touching the lights and pushing picture frames over, or dropping little hints here or there. It's not the demons. But you have to let go of what movies have shown you and what the reality of it is, right? Remember, you're always divinely protected, okay? Breathe, breathe. That's the biggest thing, because once you kick into fear, it's like, what? Run is, what's the fear, flight, run, or some shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
So just remember to stop and breathe first before you run off, because sometimes it can be, just someone who's lost. Continue to call on your spirit team. Instead of running, just call into your spirit team. Have them back whatever it is away from you and allow yourself to process what it is around you. Because sometimes fear is greater than whatever's coming at us, okay? Now, if you get an intense fear, like a spine dropping, my gut is turning kind of feeling, then stop your session. Because I will tell you, demon energy is like a disruption to you, to your field. It feels totally different from a spirit who's in a trauma or some spirit who's caught. Even though that energy feels negative, the demon energy feels way, way different. So if you get an intense fear, then you need to stop, cleanse, clear, turn on all the lights. I will say this, it's not to be afraid of the dark, but demons and lower level entities like to be in the dark. So after I had got attacked, I will tell you, I did not sleep in the dark for probably over a year. Probably over a year, because of just not wanting to feel that fear or be in that energy. So this is not to like scare you or make you run, but you do have to be aware of what's out there. And you do have to be aware of what can potentially come in if you're not taking the proper steps to take care of yourself and stand in your power and calling your angels and your spirit guides or whoever's on your team.
Exactly. And I also feel like with that fear, you when we hold on to that fear and you really want to have, and be a medium, that fear could block you, and you're doing these meditations and you feel like you're putting in the work, but you're not seeing anything. It's because you need to release that fear. You need to, it is scary to be afraid of the unknown, because we don't know, but we do know, as long as we trust ourselves and our intuition and things like that, then things will become a lot easier. No, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen, weeks from now. It does take time. It's a process, that surrendering, that trusting yourself, trusting them as well, in order to release the fears. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, is what I wanted to say.
Around stuff. One of the cautions, we always want to give you precautions of things to look for, just in case, okay? Everyone feels spirit a little differently. And even if you've already experienced spirit, it's just to kind of get you to kind of zone in on what you're feeling. I personally don't get shivers when spirit comes around me. When someone's passed a loved one, I don't get shivers. I actually don't get anything. When ancestors come around me, I feel very hot. That's where I get hot as hell. And all of a sudden I feel like I'm burning up. When I have the angels around me, it's a little bit different. It feels very comforting. It feels very familiar. It's just, it's hard for me to describe how the angel energy feels. And as, like I said, past loved ones, when they come in for me, I don't get a shift in the energy, because I tap in energy as it's not dead or alive. It's just energy. So for me, past loved ones does not change my energy. It doesn't make me feel cold or hot. It just is. And so I start to feel the person or what they went through, or I start to get those downloads. But some people get shivers. Some people feel cold. Some people feel hot. So start to understand how you feel when a past loved one is coming in. Some people's ears get hot. Some people get lightheaded. Some people smell certain scents. I will tell you, I only get lightheaded when someone is coming through that was sick. Doesn't matter what the illness is. If they were sick in any way when they died, that's when I have the lightheaded disease kind of feel. But you'll get used to what the illnesses are and how they come through and how spirit's having you feel it. You may get emotional. You may have that rush of emotions come in. That's okay. That's why we tell you to check your emotions before you get into the session. That way you know where you're at and where they're at, okay? You might see pictures in your head, especially if you close your eyes and you're meditating. I do that. I see a lot of stuff when I do that. I actually probably see more when I close my eyes than just having my eyes open. You might feel an embrace or a touch or a presence. That's where you have to really start to pay attention to the subtle changes. Sometimes it's not like someone just grabbing your arm, like really hard. Sometimes it's like a really, really tiny, very gentle touch, depending on the person. Because some people were very gentle in their life, and I'm like, oh, I got this little gentle rub on my arm. And they're like, yeah, they were very loving and this, and it makes sense. So you got to look at the little subtle parts about it also. Not everything's going to be fireworks. It just isn't. Don't get discouraged if you don't feel anything. A lot of times, even myself, I do this in a session where I just want to give the person all the messages that I possibly can. And I get bummed when I can't just really pull like all this information. So try not to get discouraged, because the spirit is going to give you what the spirit can give you, or what they're willing to give you, or what you're willing to hear. Because unfortunately, sometimes our vibration is just not there to connect that way. I think a lot of mediums like to tell people stuff just to make them feel better. So you'll decide what kind of medium you want to be. You're either going to be the medium that tells them anything to make them feel better, or you will stick to what you hear and what you see and what you feel. Me personally, I stick to my integrity. So whatever I have, whatever's coming, that is the message. I don't give nothing more, nothing less, because I don't ever want to stray away from that part. So don't get discouraged if you're not getting these drawn out messages. Spirit just doesn't speak that way. Just remember that I know the person in front of you wants that. They want to hear, I'm so proud of you. You're so, you know what I mean? They want to hear all this. Sometimes the past loved one doesn't say that. I've had the first words of a past loved one asking me about their fucking shoes or about their watch. I'm like, what's up with a watch? Like that's the first thing they want to know. What happened to the fucking watch?
Or not only that, it could also be like, the person that they're wanting to connect with, it's not even that person either. It's someone completely different that ends up coming through, because their message or their energy is a little stronger. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily not there. They are. But I've had, someone wanting to speak to grandma, but their brother or uncle had came through. You know what I mean? So that also is a thing as well that people need to, look out for. Because, when especially if you want to, have this in a business aspect, they're booking you because they want to hear from one specific person, and that person doesn't come through. It's like, I don't know, for me, I don't really work like that. It's just like, whoever comes through, And if that's not how you want to speak to a specific person, then I can try to recommend you to somebody that can try to do that. Versus, I'm not going to make that spirit come through. They're probably busy or doing something, or you know what I mean? Like, we don't know. So
Right.
yeah.
And I do the same. I cannot promise that your loved one is going to come. That's what I say. It's like, we're going to try. We're going to attempt to, try to get this person in. But sometimes that's exactly how it is. I just had a meeting yesterday where, she wanted to talk to her grandmother. Grandmother did come through, but she also had a cousin and another aunt that came through, that were around as well. And then sometimes it's like, well, grandma's not here, but the uncle's here, they have a message for you. And so a lot of people don't understand it. Spirit's busy too. They have shit that they do on the other side. Like, they're not, like, we picture them just doing fucking nothing. Like, you're just dead doing nothing. And there's this whole other kind of, and this is where we say expand your consciousness, because there's this whole other life outside of this 3D plane. We just aren't privy to all the information. And so once you kind of see that, as spirits in my ear right now, there's more to it than what we know. So sometimes they're busy. And journal it all. The only way, and we'll talk about cataloging, because cataloging is extending everything that you start to know. Every time they touch you a certain way, they talk to you a certain way, they show you something. And let me tell you, sometimes not everything, like every time I see a bird doesn't mean the same thing. Sometimes when I see a bird, I feel freedom. Sometimes I see a bird, I feel higher perspective. Sometimes I see a bird and it's like, did you see a bird recently? You really have to connect your intuition, your gut telling you of the information coming in. The part about that is because spirit can only speak to you through your language. They cannot speak to you in shit that you don't know. So if there's something that you're not educated in, they can't use that. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think you're just going to magically create stuff in your mind. Remember, the spirit is using what you know to communicate to their past loved one. So journal it so that you can start to extend, because especially when you're like, I have no idea what I'm seeing, but you can maybe describe it and they tell you what it is, write that shit down. Oh shit, okay, that's what that is,
Right.
That is, I've seen some stuff too, because I'm like, I know the word, but I can't get the word, and I couldn't deliver the message because I had no idea how to say what I was seeing. So be mindful about that as well.
Yeah, and also remember, spirit, they're coming, they're lowering their vibration level to connect to you, and how you're making your vibration higher so you guys can have that connection.
Right. So when we're looking at distinguishing the different types of spirits and energies around, right? So we know that we're all balls of energy, whether you're passed on or not. It's not like because you've passed now you have a dead energy. There is a shift in the energy, but it's still energy nonetheless. So the way to really validate spirit is, of course, by what they're telling you. They're going to tell you certain information that's going to let you know that that's the grandmother, or that's the father, or that's whoever it is that's coming through, by their information or memories. And that's what you have to say. Normally, you just say everything that's coming towards you or at you. That way, whatever it is, even if it doesn't make sense to the person in the moment, most likely they'll go home and they'll ask a brother or a sister or someone, and they'll be like, yeah, you didn't remember that? And the person's like, oh shit, no, I didn't remember that. So sometimes even in the moment, if they don't get it, they'll probably get it later. So never hesitate on any of the information coming.
Or it will bother you to your core until you message that person and you let them know, like, hey, so and so and so and so.
Right. So your past level of energy. Use your clairs. Use your clairs. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? Do you smell anything? Do you taste anything? Tap into those clairs. That is going to get who is here. defining what's around you. I will tell you that most spirits, and I haven't had every past loved one tell me their name. Some people are waiting, for the name. And I used to be that person that was skeptical, like, well, if they don't say their name, how the fuck do we know who you're talking to? But sometimes they don't say the name. Sometimes they name of somebody who's alive. And the person's like, well, that person's still alive. And I'm like, well, are they connected to this person? And they'll say yes. And I'm like, oh shit, well, I guess they want you to give them a message, Go ahead.
And see, like I've never, ever experienced the names. The only thing that I've personally experienced is the letter of their first name. And it's like, and I don't really get it unless they're shoving it at me. Like, no, say this so they can have that validation that it's me. You know what I mean? Not that they have this idea of who they think it may be. Say this letter and they'll know. It'd either be the first name. It's usually the first name or the middle name. And that's how I've come to but I think I'd kind of still be like mind blown if they say their name and it be like that. Like,
I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes I'll get the name and I'm like, oh shit, But
right.
the way it comes through, it's like like I'm like saying,
right.
Is it this?
Trying to pronounce
J name? Is it what is this? And so sometimes it's like this other name that just had the kind of the pronunciation, or the way it was spelled, something. So it's pretty neat. Just keep watching that. Your spirit team. For me, I would tell you, I've never worked with spirit guides on my path. Some people have, some people haven't. Me, I have always been pushed to work with my higher self, angels, and of course the goddess is energy that I work with, but I've never really had these spirit team or spirit guides that I work with. Besides like my ancestors, of course, that I work with them. That doesn't mean that you don't or you do have them. Everybody's path is different. Some people call for spirit guides, some people don't. Every path is different. So if you have spirit guides, you get their names and you got Bob and Sue who's over here rocking with you, shit, work with them, right? But if you ever hear from a spirit guide, don't feel bad because some people just don't have one. It depends on your path, okay? Same thing with angels, some people have them, some people don't. In the beginning of my path, I thought angels were strictly religious. Like I thought you had to be religious to call on them. And what I got a really awakening was they showed me, no, you don't. You don't have to be religious to call on us. And actually, I had two very cool ones that were in my path working with me at the time. Now I still have Metatron, but Archangel Michael is no longer in my path. I no longer need him, apparently, according to him. So he is not in my path anymore. So it's pretty cool when you work with them and when you do open the channels of communication and you get to work with them and see their signs and know when they're speaking to you, when they're giving you synchronicities, when they're telling you that they're there. I had a profound moment with Archangel Michael in the beginning, really in the beginning of my path, within the first year of my path, at the beach that was just awesome. So you really just have to open up that communication and learn how they speak to you, how they talk to you, how they know, how do they tell you that they're around. Not all the time are they going to come and talk to you with words. Most of the time it's through the fabric of the universe. And that's why we use that term of that fabric of the universe to just really appreciate the beauty of that magic, okay? Now, ancestors, and I'll let Jesse, you could go through and say how you connect with all of them yourself. Okay. Ancestors for me, like I said, it's a boost, it's a rush. It's this, they come in like, even when it's somebody else's ancestor team, it's like angry at them because I get a lot of that where their ancestors are like pissed off and mad, like, hello. But it's this rush and this boost of energy and confidence that comes in. It comes in very strong, especially when someone has like a very huge ancestor team that's coming through. That's where I get very hot, I get very sweaty, and it's like the sun is beaming on me. In lower level energies, for me, feel like a disturbance to my energy. Like it really feels like I'm being attacked in my energy. And the only way I could say that is if you imagined a force field around you and someone was trying to get through that force field. That's how
I
lower
pop that
level
bubble.
energies feel trying to come through for me.
Does that for you? Because I know for me, when I feel that, I get more drained when,
it will,
because it's like you're fighting that
right,
energy. You have that, you have your bubble, or you have, whatever it is
right,
for your protection.
right.
But I've had to where, like, when I was reading somebody and I felt that, that lower level energy get to me, like they were really, really pushing, and I'm like, dude, like I had to stop the reading, like, because I was so drained in a short amount of time. I was just like, wow, like, okay, they didn't get through clearly, but I stopped it in the nick of time, because had I kept going, I felt like that force field only would last so long, because then, your guard comes down. You know what I mean? Has that ever happened to you, like feeling that drained feeling after fighting that off?
So yeah, it has. One of the things that I've learned to do though is when I'm feeling it, I take a moment to breathe. So if you've ever seen some of my lives where I just take that moment and I start breathing and I'm meditating and I'm not saying shit. In that moment where I'm meditating, I'm calling in the team because I'm calling in reinforcements. And in that moment, because you're open when you're reading. So I stop in that moment and I'm like, I need you guys in front of me. I need you guys here, and then I will notice that it will start to dissipate. Good. You have to call it in. Just like we say, remember they're here. It's like tag me in, tap me in, but you have to ask for that. And then you also want to make sure that whoever you're working with, their team is here fucking paying attention. So you're not drawing all your energy. And that's some of the things that I've had to learn and grow. Like, don't just take my energy for everything. Make sure that I'm playing off other people's energy and allowing them. And that's why I'm able to go as long as I do without getting drained. And even with the disturbances, because I don't just do it on my energy. I'm letting my team come in, and then also the person that you're working with. So tap in and have them use their energy. So that's where you just get used to that energy exchange and understanding that you don't have to just use your energy for everything. Allow yourself to tap in and draw on others because you're already in that energy, right? You're already doing the reading. Now you have to just switch it to where you're allowing yourself to stop using yours and drain yours. Because I used to do that and then I would be super fucking drained, especially when I really started allowing myself to do like mediumship on the lives. I would be fucking drained by the end of the live, like dead, like damn. But I had to like restructure that. And so now I don't get the pull. And also, I just go ahead and I have a deal with spirit that if my energy is too low, that I don't do any mediumship and that I don't hear anyone. And they don't come through. When I'm very, very drained, they don't even come through. But that's setting those clear boundaries. If you're talking,
Yeah.
I was like, if you're talking, you're mute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was literally about to say that, setting those boundaries and coming back to having those business hours to where they don't, disrupt you and things like that is definitely something that we've learned along the way of, with the gift of being a medium and working with clients and things like that. So I feel my nose is tickling me, so I can't really talk and say what I want to say with the rest of the slide. So,
All right, so Sharon, we're going to do a sitting with spirits, higher self exercise. So hopefully you are able to, if you have your white candle, this would be where you're going to light it. And you are going to going to do about 5 minutes where you sit with your higher self and you just connect and see what your higher self wants you to know today, what your higher self may be guiding you today, and just anything higher self wants you to know. I'm not going to light a candle for myself, but for the purposes of the class, want you to light yours if you can. on your end. If you can't light the candle on your end, that's fine. Just do it without one. But we're going to do about 5 minutes, and we're just going to sit in that quiet space of connecting with spirit, and then we will recap after the 5 minutes to see how it went. Okay. I'm going to take my video off so I'm not distracting, and also put myself on mute. All right, let's see, how do we do?
I actually felt like I did this time. I felt my higher self telling me that I've got this, like giving me that confidence that I've got this. I know what I'm doing, like to keep encouraging me to keep moving forward with the things that I've got going on. It's like I had a different feeling than I did last time when I did this meditation. Like I really felt like I was getting into it more and more at peace, and like this feeling, like I guess you say, like arms wrapping around me type of thing.
Right.
Or I just like felt like someone was guiding with me, like holding me type of thing. Like, and I've never had that before.
Okay, right.
That's amazing.
Right. It's beautiful when you just start to connect and like let that connection in, right? And then how you see your higher self is going to be interesting as you keep doing this, because normally in the beginning, the higher self is like a separate entity at first. And then after you're doing the healing and the growing, you then become one with your higher self. You're no longer separate from higher self. So it's interesting how we're going through, and I think most of us go through it, where in the beginning it's that embracing from higher self. Higher self is coming in to give us this information or speak to us as this outside energy. And then as you move through, you will connect deeper and deeper, which is still beautiful though. Awesome. And every time you do it, it's going to get deeper. It's going to get connected. You're going to see some crazy shit, from higher self. So it'll always be that experience. So any questions that you have so far about anything that we've discussed or gone over?
Oh, a lot of stuff that I pretty much know, but there are a couple, like one getting deeper into it that I didn't know, but there's no questions. It's just like aha moments and just learning a little bit more.
Is you actually like following your intuition now? Like you knew, but it's like, that more of that validation, like, yeah, now Spirit's telling you.
Yes.
Start making that practice into, honing into your intuition.
Exactly. Like that's what me and her have been working on, because I'm a big doubter of myself, and like trying to learn to stop doing that, like just going with my gut and what my body says, my intuition says, to keep following through. So that's what I'm working on now.
Right. That's, and doubt is one of the biggest blocks. Like that alone will kill it. But that's where, because a lot of this is going to be, man, I've been doing this
this whole time. You mean to tell me?
It's way back when.
Right.
But at least you have the confirmation, and then it's like, okay, cool, yes. Okay, now I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go. It's I know it's now. I know.
I know for real.
All right, so for homework, of course, we are going to do one thing to raise your vibration this week, right? We're going to do at least one thing. Try to do at least a day, every day for the next week. Try to do at least one thing to raise your vibration and peak that energy, okay? You're also going to name one thing you've learned from the class, okay? You're going to continue to sit with the spirit. Now, this week, you're going to do your spirit guides. You're going to see if any spirit guides come for you. Now, again, remember, just because no spirit guides come doesn't mean anything. If you keep sitting with spirit guides and your higher self comes, go with it, okay? Go with it. Journal it, experience it, and flow with it. And then also you will have attached meditations that I will send you in the email. Also try to do those as well, because they're going to be extra added information, extra tips, and just extra exercises to get you flowing on opening up your gifts and continuing, because most of us are already open. It's just about perfecting and kind of crafting and shaping what we already know what to do, or how to do, should I say.
And you want us to send these to you after we complete them, right?
Yeah, via email would be the best. You don't have to send me like, for each day, but if you could at least send me one so I see how you're doing,
Just a summary of what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll help. And, at least, the Wednesday night before class, Jesse can kind of see where you're at.
Okay.
You're kind of, moving on in the class. And so closing quotes is by Michael Jordan himself. It's some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. So
period. Sorry, I'm like
you are the one that makes it happen. Okay. So we're gonna follow these words. We're gonna make this shit happen, right?
And what's that thing that you say?
Hmm.
What's the saying that you say? It kind of coincides with that. You only fail.
Oh, you only fail when you don't try.
Exactly.
Like, which one? I say a lot of shit.
Right. I'm like, let me give her a little hint.
Yeah, she told me that on Monday. She told me that exact thing on Monday. You only fail when you don't try. Yes.
You see how Spirit is always repeating it through someone else. Was even me.
Confirmation. Right. Yes.
No coincidences, no more. Out the window, out the door.
I love it, ladies. I love it. Y'all are opening my eyes in a whole new way.
It's so beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you for tonight. I will get the email out as soon as I upload the class, of course, and then I'll get the email out. And then we will see you next week. Next Thursday, we will meet up again for some more mediumship and spiritual development.
Yes. Thank you. You are so welcome.
Good night.
Have a good night, y'all.
Good night.